Hi pals, it's Mick, and this week I have for you a very belated February 2021 bullet journal setup. So I know that making a monthly setup for a bullet journal video halfway through the month is a kind of questionable decision, but I also know that a lot of you guys aren't necessarily recreating this and it's just about watching the time lapse. And also I put up a poll and most of you wanted to see this rather than me moving on to another prompt series video. Something else to mention during this video is that I recently got a part-time job, so I have decided that I'm going to make my schedule a little bit different. I think that I will only be able to manage 2 videos a month rather than 1 video every week, which means 4 videos a month. So I think it would have been possible if I were to work at the work rate that I should. I would be able to do a video a week, but in order to just chill out a little bit and not burn myself out, I've decided that I wanted to just calm down the creation rate a little bit here and take it a little bit easy, especially just while I'm easing into this new job. And I do have quite a few hours. I'm working 4 days a week after having at least 6 months of not having a job at all. So I do want to give myself a little bit of leeway there. And yeah, so this month I decided that I was going to do a theme that I think is probably better suited for next month. Not because it's a wave and for some reason waves are more suited to March, but because the Great Wave of Kanagawa is it's an artwork that I closely associate with my absolute best friend. I know that I've said my best friend a couple of different times throughout my short career on YouTube, but I've known her since I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I guess you can have a few best friends, but everybody has that one person. This particular person is your best friend. Like your all-time best friend. I don't know how else to put it. If you know me in person, you know, or you probably know, that Bones is my absolute favourite TV show ever. It sort of has become a bit of a guilty pleasure in the last couple of years because I kind of realised recently that the acting isn't that great, the science isn't accurate, and it does a whole lot of that. I mean, if you've seen NCIS, which is a bit more of a popular show, if you've seen NCIS, you know how they're always like, enhance, 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 and it makes this ridiculous image more easy to see, even though, you know, somebody's just pressing a button and saying enhance, it wouldn't actually do anything. But Bones does a lot of that, which kind of drops its credibility a bit. But for me, it's a show that I have watched through really, really difficult times in my life. It's a show that's special to me. And I recently saw an episode that really sums up my feelings about friendship, I guess, and Steph in particular. And I'm going to try and insert a clip here of Bones explaining to her best friend Angela that everybody has a bunch of friends, but everybody has that one friend who is really, really special to them.
You are my dearest friend. Booth once told me that you can only love one person the most. I feel that applies to friendship as well. You are that person to me.
So yeah, that was probably a bit corny, and Steph probably hated it, so if you're watching, Steph, you're welcome. Steph is amazing, and she has a tattoo on her inner left bicep, a depiction of the Great Wave of Kanagawa, which is beautifully rendered by my favourite tattoo artist, and it includes the quote that I've put on my quote page, which is, "When a wave comes, go deep." Now, I'm sure that everybody has kind of a different version of what that means to them. I know that Steph has a particular version of what it means to her. So I'm not going to go into what it means necessarily. For me, I just like the quote. I think it's nice and it reminds me of Steph, and I just couldn't do a Wave of Kanagawa theme without including her in some way. realized last month that I had too much space for my brain dumping commission list because I don't do a whole lot of note taking for either of them, and it's really just a thing for my poor memory. So if I forget stuff, that's where I want to put it. And I've also decided that I think I want to start a Google spreadsheet for my commission list because I think it'll be easier to sort of keep a track of and make sure that it's easy to update, and I don't have to have my bullet journal on me all the time because I don't usually take it out of the house with me, whereas Google Docs I can really access anywhere. I also went with these little clouds as decorations for the doodles that I put on a couple of the pages rather than trying to recreate the wave, partially because they are simpler and partially because I don't feel like it's really easy to sort of make that wave on every page and make it sort of fit in and look nice and cohesive rather than looking a little bit too busy on the page. And maybe that's my skill level, or maybe it's because waves don't really have a start point kind of thing. So yeah, it was hard to make them into a small doodle, and I wasn't sure how to create them as a backdrop without getting in the way of all the things on the page, because the markers that I'm using, the Tombow dual brush pens, they are quite opaque, and so I couldn't really use them as a background for things, if that makes sense. And I've also decided to try a mixture of mood tracker and habit tracker sort of styles. So I really like the habit tracker where you just sort of fill in a square, and I really enjoyed last month's one. So I sort of tried to recreate that, but my mood tracker I changed up a little bit. I can't remember if I've ever put it in a video before, but it is an idea that I picked up from Plant-Based Bride here on YouTube. I'll pop her link in the description down below. I learned from her that it's possible to sort of make graph mood trackers, even though I'm really not a mathematical person. I do really like the aesthetic of a graph. It looks nice and it's easy to read. It really shows your ups and downs because, you know, you've got the little circles to denote your mood, and then you have the line adjoining each of those little marks, which shows you like your ups and downs of the month really graphically. And finally, I have my weekly spread on the left-hand side here, and I have made it sort of similar to the calendar in that it's not boxes, it's just got some lines to denote the differences between days, and this one happened to be vertical and the calendar happened to be horizontal. I've also added in on all of the pages this really lovely washi tape from the washi tape shop, and the washi tape actually was what inspired me to create the Wave of Kanagawa theme to begin with. And as we're going through the final flip through here, I would like to say thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, please leave the video a like, and I will see you next week. Bye, pals.